and welcome. You're watching NewsX. I'm Megha Sharma, and we are on the eve of phase 1 of the Bihar Assembly Elections 2025. Who is going to win the assembly polls this time around? There are voters of 121 constituencies in Bihar that will be exercising their franchise, deciding the fates of hundreds of candidates. The phases of the polls have been divided equally, with phase 1 on 6th of November, which is tomorrow. And it will see polling taking place in 121 seats. There are 122 constituencies, which are the remaining of the 243 constituencies in total in Bihar that will go to poll in phase 2, and this will happen on 11th of November. Counting of votes will take place on 14th of November. There are over 7.4 crore people that are eligible to vote in the upcoming Bihar Assembly polls, including the 14 lakh first-time voters. There are a total of 45,341 poll booths that have been set up, of which 36,733 are in the rural areas, while 8,608 are in the urban areas of Bihar. The first phase covers several politically sensitive and high-profile seats, which include both of the key leaders from the BJP, the JDU, the RJD and the Congress. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at the numbers. This is the statistics. We have broken down for you the various figures and numbers that matter. There is 121 constituencies that go to poll tomorrow. We will take a look at which are these VIP constituencies, these VIP leaders who are fighting it out, battling it out amongst each others. We are also going to take a look at the past numbers, the way the elections happened back in 2020, then 2015, 2010. We'll take a look at the tally of all these numbers, how the parties performed and which governments came to rule Bihar. Let's take a look first of all at the areas, the phase 1 of the Bihar Assembly elections, where the important regions include Gopalganj, Siwan, Muzaffarpur, Darbhanga, Madhepura, Sahasrasa, Samistipura, Vaishali, Saran, Buxar, Bhojpur, Patna, Begusarai, Khagaria, Mungel, Lakshmisarai, Shekhpura and Nalanda. So these are the important regions where polling will take place. 121 of those constituencies in these regions. There are a total of 7.18 crore people, of which there are 3.79 crore men, while the remaining 3 crore women is what we're talking about. That's the total number of people who are going to cast their vote. Let's take a look at the age-wise breakup. There, between the age group of 18 and 19, their percentage of voters stands at 1.18%. Between the age group of 20 to 29, the percentage stands at 20.40%. Between the age group of 30 and 39, the voter percentage is 25.43%. Between the age group of 40 and 49, the voter percentage is 20.79%. Between 50 and 59, voter percentage of 14.03%. Between 60 and 69, a voter percentage of 4.60%. 70 to 79 has voter percentage of 4.60%, and 80 above are the voters that are a percentage of the total population, which is 1.84%. Taking a look at some other figures, and here's how the parties performed in the 2020 Bihar Assembly elections. And let's take a look at these figures on the left, which are very important because RJD had 175 seats. Now this is equal to the BJP tally, which also stood at 75 seats. So both these parties performed exceptionally and were able to gain the maximum number of seats. In fact, the tally is the same at 75. JDU performed at 43 of those seats that it won. Its performance from the last election that took place in 2015 was it could not better its election performance. Congress at 19, CPI, ML, M at 12, HAM led by Jitin Ram Manji at 4, and we had VIP at 4 as well. Let's take a look at these seat shares in the 2020 Assembly elections. Again, taking a look at the Bihar seat share, 74, JDU at 43, VIP at 4, HAM at 4, of course RJD 75, Congress at 19, CPIML, the other parties that were able to make the difference and who came to power and formed the government, which was the alliance of the BJP and the Nitish Kumar led JDU. CPIML M at 12, CPI at 2. Let's take a look at the vote share of all these political parties, big and small, and how they came to make a difference in the number of votes that were counted. Here's a look at the vote share of the BJP at 19.5%. By BJP got the maximum number of votes. Second was BJP was the second party with the second largest number of votes. RJD with 23.1% was the party with the maximum number of votes. JDU coming fourth, in fact, at 15.4%. There were others who were voted by people. 18.3% of the eligible voters who came out to vote voted for others. CPIML at 2.1%, CPIM at 0.4%, HAM at 0.9%, LJP at 5.7%, Congress again performing dismally, 8.4%, although it was able to increase the number of its seats that it had won in 2015, and there was an increment in single digits for the Congress. Let's take a look at Nitish Kumar, the political leader who has been the Chief Minister of Bihar 7 times, irrespective of which party came to power. Strength number 1 of Nitish Kumar that leads JDU and right now is in alliance with the BJP and has formed the government in Bihar. He is the longest serving Chief Minister. He also brings experience and stability. Point number 2, if we take a look at the strength of Nitish Kumar, who has been in his political career that spans from 1985 and now to 2025, successfully switched up new alliances with former foes, whether it was the RJD, the Mahagathbandhan, and later on, of course, we saw that flip-flop that happened between BJP and the Congress. Strength number 3, he has proven electoral gains. There were 55 seats in 2005 that the JDU won. It increased to 74 in 2020, which showed a rise of vote share as well as seat share. Let's take a look at some other important factors that make Nitish Kumar perhaps the question, of course, is he still going to be the front runner to be the Chief Minister of Bihar if the NDA alliance wins this election? He during his first term, that was back in 2005, 2010, in fact improved law and order, infrastructure in Bihar, earned the Susashan Babu title after he brought about a transformation that was, of course, followed after the RJD leader Lalu Prasad Yadav continued to be Chief Minister of Bihar for a considerable period of time. Of course, popularity amongst women voters due to the schemes that he launched like Cycle for Teenagers and Jivika Didis as well. All right, so here's a look at, in fact, another of his, advantages vis-a-vis how the NDA is likely to perform. He is known to have successfully navigated through Bihar's complex caste dynamics as well. Okay, all right. Do we have more of those slides? Okay, voter turnout. If we take a look at this figure, and it is going to give you an interesting, you'll be able to make an interesting inference from these numbers. 2010 is when the voter turnout was 52.7%. It has increased marginally in 2015 at 54.9%. It has reduced and come down further away from the 2010 mark to 51.8%. The likelihood of this number increasing to maybe the figures of 2010 or even more, we'll have to wait and watch. And let's take a look at the voter turnout when the Lok Sabha elections have been held in the country and particularly in Bihar. Take a look at 2014, the voter turnout was 56.28%. 2019, the voter turnout increased marginally by 57.65%. 2024 saw voter turnout of 56.19%. So those are the figures which also give us an idea of how the public comes out and votes when it comes to the Lok Sabha elections and it comes to the assembly elections. Interesting to note that there is a percentage, I think 2 to 3 percentage points difference every single time people have come out to vote for the Lok Sabha elections in Bihar, which is slightly more than the people when they have come out and voted in the assembly elections. We have taken a look at the numbers and let's bring in my panelists into the conversation as well. I have with me Sumit Peer. Sumit, let's start from you. Thank you very much for joining me, and of course we've taken a look at the numbers. Most importantly, the key constituencies, the fights, the battles that are going to take place. We already know Tejashwi Yadav is going to be fighting from a seat that he has won 3 times already. His mother and his father, Lalu Prasad Yadav and Rabri Devi, both have fought the elections from the same seat. They have won numerous times, and it looks like there is no likely contest between the RJD and the BJP, the candidate that the BJP has fielded against the Tejashwi Yadav.
Megha ji, thank you very much for having me on your show. You're absolutely right. Look, this is the family bastion of the Yadavs, and they are going to win from there. And look, Tejaswi cannot be in a position where he loses his seat. They have been 20 years out of the power, and usually you will pick up a seat where you are short to win. And BJP is not bothered about those seats. And if you look at the Rananiti of BJP is going to target somewhere around 80 to 90 seats. That will be the internal target, knowing that JDU and others will come up. So, however, NDA is targeting somewhere around what my prediction is 140 to 150, what I gave on your channel. So that is what the target is. Majority of the seats are going to come from BJP. The NDA, the JDU will stick to whatever it has been getting, 43, 44, 45, 47. Chirag Paswan and others are going to get their share of seats, but the heavy lifting has to be done by BJP to be in the power. So if you want to be in the power, you have to make sure you pick your fights and focus your energies on where you can win. Trying to take down Tejaswi is not like, defeating Kejriwal. The party is not about that, because if you have to increase your tally by another 25 or 30 seats, you have to really be choosy about which seats you are going to fight and pick them on. So if Tejaswi even gets that seat, well, let it be. But I don't think, my assessment says he is not even going to reach the RJD will not even reach 75 this time around.
Okay.
They might be somewhere around 60, 62. That is what my assessment is, if they do a very good job.
Yeah, but okay, all right. I also have with me Sanjay Kapoor. Sanjay, let's hear your analysis as well. Overall, talking about the RJD. RJD has performed consistently under Tejashwi Yadav in the last 2 times polling happened. They have been able to recover from the numbers and the votes and the seats that they had lost previously in the previous elections that had taken place preceding 2020 and 2015 as well. How do you think the role of RJD is going to be in deciding how the people are going to vote and who wins the election?
Hi Megha, good to see you after a long time, and Sumit too. I think this is going to be a very keenly fought election. It is not going to be a cakewalk, and Raghopur is going to be a predictable win for Tejaswi Yadav. But we're not talking about just that. We are going to see some kind of a test taking place in the first phase. How the SIR that the Election Commission used to clean up the electoral rolls has performed. And secondly, also how Mr. Rahul Gandhi's joint yatra with Tejaswi in the first phase about 2 months back, and again this time his campaign along with him has really worked, whether it's yielding any dividends at all or not. So this is going to be very, very crucial. It is not something that you can take it for granted, although most of the media which is close to the government have been saying that it's going to be a cakewalk. They'll walk away with 180. Mr. Amit Shah is again talking about predicting what happens at what time. On the 14th at 1 p.m. something will happen. He said, did the same thing in 2015, almost came to grief, that time. So I'm sure this is not something that we can feel that is going to be a cakewalk for the BJP and the NDA,
Yeah.
primarily because things are looking very grim.
Okay, all right. On that note, Sumit, coming to you, talking about Nitish Kumar, is the Nitish Kumar factor still attracting voters to come out and vote for the NDA, keeping in mind his previous track record, of course, 7-time chief minister, but is his spark somehow diminishing because JDU has not been able to get the kind of seats it was once known to have gotten in the past?
I think you nailed it, Meghaji. Look, now JDU and BJP fighting at same number of seats. So there is no big brother here. Earlier JDU has been the big brother and BJP was Chota Bhai. Now the seats are same. Now look logically, if tomorrow if BJP is able to pull somewhere around 80, 90 seats, let's say 90, 92, then obviously if JDU is at 42, 47, you are at half the number, you can't have the same aspirations. There is a bit of anti-incumbency against Nitish Babu, though he's a very honest man. He's not corrupt. He's a Sushasan Babu. Nothing wrong because just 2017, 20 years in power, the anti-incumbency comes. It's a natural phenomena. So people want to see a change and people will be trusting how will be a BJP chief minister do and how far can Modi along with Modi ji along with the BJP chief minister develop the state. The good example will be will the UP be the benchmark? Will UP be the benchmark? Look, in UP, UP was called as a Bimaru state. And in around 10 years of time, it's the second highest GDP earner state of the India. And it's a budget surplus state. So will that kind of a transformation happen? Will that kind of an infrastructure and law and order improve? Even when you compare any unknown face, you have a Modi ki guarantee, then you have a Nitish Babu, you compare him with Tejasvi. He does not stand a chance because his past will catch on with him. The Jungle Raj is going to catch up with him. And recently, Nokri, Zameen Do Nokri Lo, that scam was happening there. So people have not forgotten those things. So you might like Tejasvi, you might like his youthful energy, but when it comes to vote, is that going to culminate into vote or not? That's a big challenge. And on the top of that, Meghaji, don't forget there's this Uvaisi factor. Uvaisi has not agreed on any seat share arrangement. There is a wide number of constituency which is Simanchal, which is kind of controlled by Uvaisi, and the division of the Muslim vote is going to happen. The division of the Muslim vote traditionally hurts Congress, it hurts RJD, it to some extent hurts JDU also, but again, it is basically an advantage to BJP if I can be as direct as that. So those factors are also there. And on the top of that, we could not, Mahagathbandhan could not get the seat arrangement in place. There was no big agenda announced. Tejasvi is getting ambitious and announcing scheme after scheme after scheme after scheme. Understand, he has been 20 years out of the power. These empty promises have not cut ice. That is also a reality of the ground. And if he's this time around out of the power, I think he has to kiss goodbye to politics. That's my opinion on that.
Sanjay Kapoor, talking about, I do want to discuss at length about the RJD and Tejasvi Yadav, who is the big leader now, moving forward on the footsteps of his father. Talking about the performance of the RJD in 2020, 75 seats. There were 5 seats. They were 5 short of their previous record of 80 seats in 2015. But if you take a look at 2010, RJD performed comparatively poorly. 54 seats that they had only been able to muster. 32, there were reduction of 32 seats. So if you compare from 54 seats in 2010 to 2015, which were 80 seats, and 2020 there are 75 seats, and currently they have 3 more, and the tally is at 77. So there have been improvements that the party has seen with the scion of the Lalu Prasad Yadav clan moving forward with his agenda. He has been performing consistently. It's unfortunate that his ally in the Mahagathbandhan Congress has not been able to give the support that RJD required.
You're very right. Congress has been the weak link in the last election, and that in a certain way contributed to the loss that the Mahagathbandhan suffered. So this time around, the Congress has contested seats, not that they haven't, but they are not so aggressive as they were in the last election. Primarily because they have an analyst who been supporting the Congress venture in a manner that they perform up to their strength and get the number of seats that will help Mahagathbandhan to come to power. They're claiming that they will be the glue. They are not aspiring to be anything more than that. So there is hope that despite some kind of cross voting that might happen, because there are 10 seats in which both there is an overlap between the Congress and RJD, there would not be such a dramatic loss in terms of how these two parties are facing each other. Besides that, there is also certain kind of hope which resides in the campaign by Rahul Gandhi, that there would be the vote adhikar yatra that will start paying some kind of dividends with people watching very intently about fake voters stepping in or fake voting taking place. So there might be some kind of a tension. This is the first time there will be election after the first expose he made, and again today, when he claimed that there were too many people who were inserted in the electoral rolls on behalf of the BJP. So whether there is any merit in these charges is not the case, but the fact is that he chose to do it just a day before the elections. I'm sure there would be some kind of excitement and some kind of anxiety which would be visiting both sides.
Sumit, coming back to you and talking about Prashant Kishore factor, how significant or insignificant it is going to be in capturing the imagination and the votes of particularly the urban population, which is also a stronghold of the BJP traditionally?
You see, Prashant Kishore is a good poll strategist. He's a good professional. But I don't know how good he's a politician, because my opinion about him is that this election is like a net practice session for him. That is, when you look at the candidates and all, that is what he has done. Prashant Kishore very well understands in Bihar, you don't cast your vote, you vote your caste. Caste equations, you can have all the beautiful technocrats, you can have all the beautiful engineers and doctors contest, but will those convert into votes? I think Prashant Kishore is experimenting with the kind of politics and see how much gravitas does it get. He'll see what percentage of votes will he get. Will this brand of politics even work in Bihar and not? There might be some small impacts here and there in the urban pockets. But overall, if you talk about Prashant Kishore being a phenomena, because I was very clear on your show, I believe, Meghaji, when we talked that when we look at the list of his candidates and look at the Jati Samikaran, then exactly where we know, is he really fighting or is he really testing the waters? Because when I look at the list today, he seems to be testing the waters. And by the way, one of his candidates has just moved to BJP. I think one day before the elections, he has flipped to the BJP. So, though candidates keep on voting from here and there, that's not an issue. But he is trying a different brand of politics. I have to give it to him. But will that cut ice? What is the traction it gets? That is what we have to be seen. So maybe a 1% vote disruption at best, you can hope. That's all.
Okay. All right. Coming back to you, Sanjay, a quick question. Again, the chances of the BJP or the NDA coming to power, and more importantly, is Nitish Kumar going to be the Chief Minister the 8th time around?
I mean, if the NDA comes to power, Mr. Nitish Kumar again, because I don't think the BJP has anybody in mind. The so-called candidate in the last election, Samrat Chaudhary, seems to be, he's got a major credibility issue. He's got the age factor, which has been questioned by his detractors. He has other issues, which even Prashant Kishore raised at a press conference pertaining corruption and even criminal cases against him. So they would, I mean, the BJP will look for a transition in Nitish Kumar and hope that by then they will be able to spot some of the candidates. There are some people who could be blooded in this election if Mr. Nitish Kumar decides to hang his boots. But that's not going to happen, because people in India, leaders in India especially, never believe in resigning or going away. They just have to be removed. But having said that, it's going to be a very close election. It's not going to be easy this time, because after being 20 years in power, there is a very strong anti-incumbency in Bihar. Really deserves a change.
Okay, all right. I thank both of you for joining me and sharing your views. We'll keep a close eye on all these big developments. Of course, tomorrow is the big day. And stay tuned on NewsX throughout 7 a.m. onwards as voting starts in Bihar.